Okay, today I'm going to go over a lapped zipper insertion. This is great for the back of a dress, the back of a skirt, pants that have just a simple zipper opening at the back or the side. So a lapped zipper is where the zipper, you'll see, where one piece of fabric kind of overlaps over the top of the zipper. So firstly, this is how you mark it. This is a bit of a weird zipper. It's kind of like a weird inside out zipper. I don't know. Anyway, so just say this is the seam. This is the center back seam, for example. So you'll mark it. I like to have it so that these zigzag kind of bits are off the top, but you do need to be a bit mindful of how big your seam allowance is at the top, because you don't want your seam allowance to interfere with the top of the zipper stops. So generally for a waistband or for a facing, I would have a 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, which is right here. So that's going to be okay if I just have this bit kind of just slightly off the top. And then I'm just going to lay my zipper down, and then at this end we need to mark a notch, and it needs to be below where this zipper stop is. You know, normally they look actually more like this, but on this particular zipper, I don't know why, it is kind of inside out. Anyway, so I'm going to mark a notch just slightly below that because we're going to be sewing across here. The first step in it is to sew the seam that is below that notch, and you want to use at least a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Just for argument's sake today, I'm going to do a 5/8 of an inch or 1.5 centimeter seam allowance, which is a seam allowance that I never use, by the way, but just to show you on this sample. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to open it out and press the seam open. This is muslin, so it will just finger press, so I'll just show you by finger pressing. You'll press this all the way up, continuing that seam allowance, right? Remember it was 1.5 centimeters. So I just want to keep making sure that it's going to be 1.5 centimeters all the way up. On some fabrics, you may need to stabilize it with like some strips of interfacing, but most are fine. Like if they're not too delicate, they're fine for this. Like it won't deform too much. Okay, I couldn't find the zipper foot I was looking for, but I've put this one on. It's going to be fine. So here's what that seam looks like pressed open. What's going to happen is the zipper is going to sit behind here. We're going to sew it so really close to the zipper teeth on this side. This side is going to overlap, and then we'll sew like a slot up here. I've got you really zoomed in here. We're going to start off with our zipper open. So I guess the tricky thing about this is you just need to know when to open and close your zipper. So I'm just have it open, and I'm just placing it behind this. This is the left hand side, and I'm just going to check that my seam allowance is going to be good there. It is. And start off. Okay, so you just need to match this edge along the end, the side of the zipper teeth. Okay, we're not going to go all the way down to bottom, maybe 3/4 of the way along. It doesn't really matter, just somewhere before the bottom. And then we'll stop with our needle down, lift the presser foot and zip up the zipper. And then we will continue the rest of the way down. Can you see how where we stopped finishing the seam is just below the end of that zipper stop? Okay. Okay, I've got my needle down. It's below that zipper stop. It's very important that you're below it, because if you're not, what will happen is if you sew into it, you'll break your needle. We're going to lift our presser foot up, pivot 90 degrees, and that's when we place our other side across. We're going to sew across. Maybe one more stitch. So it depends how much you want. How much is this across? Let's see. It's like a 1/4 inch from the stitching, from the seam, and a little bit more from the this stitching line. You can see I actually didn't do it super well. I flared out this way a little bit. It would have been better if I'd stayed really tight there, but I didn't. So now you can see the zipper is still sewn up a little bit. I'm overlapping it ever so slightly, so you just don't see this row of stitching here. And then I'm going to sew up this side. I'm going to stop about there. This is where I'm going to do kind of the reverse of, actually I'm going to do it a little bit more. Sorry. I'm going to sew about 3/4 of the way along. I'm going to stop here, lift the presser foot, unzip the zipper. Now this is the point where you just need to make sure that you're keeping that zipper tape aligned with the same distance from this edge that it was. There we go. So this is how it looks. I'm going to zoom out for you. Okay, here we go. So this is our lapped zipper. This is what it looks like inside. So when you finish this with a waistband or a facing or something, you would have a little hook and eye or something just to hold that across, and that would be lovely. On the inside, here's what it looks like. You can see there's just one row of stitching in a box. This zipper is really weird, I will say that, actually, because this the zipper pull is quite bulkier than usual. So hopefully you won't have that issue. But I hope that was instructive. So I made a little boo-boo here. I came out 1 stitch, half a stitch width as I came down to the bottom. That wouldn't be even noticeable normally if you were using matching thread, but it's obviously very noticeable here, but that's okay. But I've kept equidistant all the way up, and that is my lapped zipper.